Wake up! You're wasting your life. There comes a moment when silence screams louder than noise, when you stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m. and wonder, is this it? Is this all I was meant for? Just surviving, not living? You weren't born just to wake up, eat, and go back to sleep with an empty heart and a tired soul. No, there's a fire inside you, burning, aching to rise, but you've buried it under doubt, fear, and the noise of a what will people say. You see, life isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's moving, breathing, slipping through your fingers, and every moment you spend living someone else's dream, you are quietly killing your own. But let me tell you something, it's not too late. The cracks in your heart, that's where the light comes in, the pain you carry. That's the very fuel that can push you to rise, not tomorrow, not someday, now. So wake up, not just from sleep, but from the numbness, from the lies you've believed, from the chains you didn't know you wore. Your life, you're beautiful, one precious life is calling you. Will you finally answer? You weren't born just to survive. Your life has purpose. Fear and doubt are silently stealing your dreams. Pain can be your greatest source of strength. Time is slipping. Wake up before it's too late. Your life is calling. Answer it now that you weren't born just to survive. Your life has purpose. There is a huge difference between existing and living. Most people confuse the two. They wake up, follow routines, meet deadlines, smile when they have to, and laugh when expected. They go through life like clockwork, doing what's needed, saying what's acceptable, never stepping beyond the boundaries set by others. But deep down, there's an ache, a feeling that something is missing, something they can't quite put into words. That ache is the voice of your soul, trying to remind you that you are not created just to tick boxes. You are not brought into this world simply to make it through each day. You were born for something far greater. There is purpose written in your bones. Look at the way your heart beats through every heartbreak, how your lungs breathe even in moments of panic. That's not survival. That's strength, resilience, divine design. Yet somewhere along the way, we learn to shrink ourselves. We're taught to play it safe, to stay small, to follow a path that's already been walked 1,000 times before. We stop dreaming because it feels childish. We silence our passions because they don't pay the bills. We forget who we are because the world keeps telling us who we should be. And so we survive. We keep our heads down, do what's expected, and call it a life. But inside every one of us is a whisper, a quiet reminder that there's more to feel, more to give, more to live for. Your existence is not an accident. You're here for a reason. Even if you haven't discovered it yet, even if you've stopped believing it, the truth doesn't change. You carry a light that no one else does. You have a voice, a story, a perspective that this world desperately needs. And every day that you choose survival over purpose, that light dims just a little. We glorify being busy, being practical, being realistic. But at what cost? When was the last time you felt truly alive? When was the last time your heart raced with excitement instead of anxiety? When was the last time you did something just because it set your soul on fire? These questions matter because they reveal whether you're living in alignment with your purpose or merely going through the motions. The truth is, your purpose doesn't need to be grand or loud or universally applauded. It only needs to be yours. Maybe your purpose is to create art that makes people feel seen. Maybe it's to raise a child with love and compassion. Maybe it's to speak truth, to heal, to serve, to inspire. Whatever it is not small, it is not meaningless. And it is not survival, it's life in its purest, most powerful form. When you begin to live with intention, when you start listening to that voice within, the world around you starts to change. You walk differently. You speak with conviction. You make choices that scare you because comfort no longer excites you. Suddenly, survival isn't enough anymore. You crave meaning. You hunger for impact. You rise not because life is easy, but because you know it's worth it. Fear and doubt are silently stealing your dreams. They don't show up with loud warnings or flashing lights. They creep in quietly, disguising themselves as logic, as protection, as caution. They whisper questions like, what if you fail? Or what if you're not good enough? And slowly they build walls around your heart. Walls so high that even your own dreams start to seem unreachable. You start second-guessing yourself, not because you're incapable, but because fear has convinced you to play small. You doubt your ideas before they've had a chance to breathe. You hesitate to speak, to act, to move, because somewhere along the way, you are taught that failing is worse than not trying at all. But fear isn't always loud. Most of the time, it's disguised as comfort. It tells you to stay where you are, that it's safer not to take risks, that you should be grateful for what you have, even if it's far from what you want. Doubt doesn't scream, it whispers. It questions your every step until you start questioning your entire path. And the most dangerous part, we start believing these lies. We think we're being smart, being cautious, being mature, but in reality, we're handing over the keys to our dreams and locking ourselves in cages made of invisible bars. Somewhere deep inside, you remember what it felt like to want more, to believe in something bigger than yourself. Maybe it was a childhood dream, a quiet passion, a moment of clarity that filled your chest with fire. But life happened. People doubted you, so you started doubting yourself. You heard "you can't" enough times that it started sounding like truth. So you shrank, you hid your light. You convinced yourself that maybe it wasn't meant for you. But what if you were never wrong for dreaming? What if the fear you feel is not a stop sign, but a signal that you're on the edge of something meaningful? You see, fear only shows up when you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Doubt only appears when you're reaching beyond what you've known. They exist not because you're weak, but because you're growing. And growth is messy. It's uncomfortable. But it's also powerful. Most people wait for the fear to disappear before they begin, but that day never comes. Fear doesn't leave. You just learn to stop letting it lead. You don't wake up confident one day and chase your dreams. You chase them while you're terrified, while your voice shakes, while your knees tremble. That's what courage looks like. Not the absence of fear, but the decision that your dreams are more important than your doubts. When you let fear decide, your dreams die quietly, not all at once, but slowly. In the moments you say, "and not now," in the chances you never take, in the ideas you never share. And one day, you wake up realizing you've spent years building a life around fear instead of passion. That's how dreams fade, not in fire, but in silence. And the saddest part is you'll never know what could have been if you had just believed in yourself a little more. Pain can be your greatest source of strength. It doesn't feel that way when you're in the middle of it. When your chest is heavy, your eyes are tired, and your heart feels like it's been shattered into pieces, strength is the last word that comes to mind. In those moments, pain feels like punishment. No. It feels like failure, like loss, like something you just want to escape. You question why it happened, why it hurts so much, and whether you'll ever feel whole again. But buried within that very pain is a lesson, a fire, a transformation waiting to happen. Every scar you carry tells a story. Not of defeat, but of survival. You've made it through nights you thought would break you. You've stood up after falls that left you breathless. And though you may not see it clearly now, every crack in your heart is a place where light has entered. Pain is not the enemy. It's the reminder that you feel, that you care, that you've lived. It means you were brave enough to open yourself to love, to hope, to try. And yes, it also means you were vulnerable enough to be wounded, but that vulnerability is not weakness. It's the seed of strength. Because true strength isn't loud. It's not about how much you can lift or how tough you appear on the outside. It's about how deeply you can feel and still keep going. It's about how you face the storm, not avoid it. Pain introduces you to parts of yourself you never knew existed. It reveals how much you can endure, how deeply you can heal, and how fiercely you can rise. Without pain, we'd never know our own capacity to overcome. Some of the most powerful, compassionate, resilient people you'll ever meet are the ones who've walked through fire. Not because they wanted to, but because life gave them no other choice. And instead of letting it destroy them, they chose to let it shape them. They took their broken pieces and built something new. Stronger, wiser, more beautiful, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. You may be in a place right now where it feels like the pain is too much, where every day is a struggle and you're holding yourself together by threads. But even in this, there is something sacred happening. You are growing, you are evolving. You are shedding old versions of yourself and becoming someone new, someone who knows how to survive the dark and still search for the light. Pain breaks the illusion of control. It humbles you. It strips away the noise and forces you to confront what truly matters. It shows you who your real friends are, what your real values are, and what you're really made of. And when you come out the other side, and you don't return as the same person. You return as someone who knows what it means to fight for peace, to earn joy, to understand others deeply because you've lived through depths most avoid. There is a strength that comes from suffering, the quiet, steady kind that cannot be faked, the kind that doesn't boast but radiates, the kind that doesn't need applause because it knows its own worth. Time is slipping. Wake up before it's too late. Every second you're living right now is a moment you'll never get back. The clock is ticking, not in the background, but in your life. And yet, most of us walk through our days like we have forever. We postpone dreams, delay healing, push aside joy, and convince ourselves there will be a better time, a better mood, a better version of ourselves that will be ready. But that perfect moment never arrives. Time doesn't pause. It doesn't wait for you to be confident, courageous, or comfortable. It moves forward silently, constantly, with or without your permission. You can replace money. You can rebuild relationships. You can even recover from failure. But you cannot rewind time. Once it's gone forever. And the most tragic part is you don't even realize how much you've lost until it's too late. One day, you'll look back and realize how much of your life was spent worrying about things that never mattered, holding grudges that only hurt you, and postponing the things that set your soul on fire. You'll wonder why you didn't take more risks, love harder, speak louder, or show up for yourself when it truly counted. We live under the illusion that we have time. That will start tomorrow. Try next week, fix it later. But tomorrow is not promised. And even if it comes, who you are today may not be the same. Your energy, your dreams, your spark, they are alive now. They are asking for your attention now. Time doesn't ask if you're ready, it just moves, quietly, steadily. And while you're busy waiting for the right conditions, life is passing you by. People think the scariest thing is dying, but it's not. The real fear is dying with your dreams still inside you. Leaving this world with your story untold, your gifts unused, your potential untouched. Regret doesn't come from failure. It comes from never trying, from the silence of what could have been. And by the time you realize that time was the most valuable thing you had, it's already slipped through your hands. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to know every step. But you do need to start, even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if it scares you. Because every moment you wait, another piece of your life passes without purpose. Every minute later is a day less of living in your truth. Every excuse is time you'll never get back. The people you love won't always be here. The opportunities in front of you won't wait forever. The version of you who's dreaming, aching, hoping, that person is slowly being replaced by someone who's learning to settle. And once you start settling, it becomes a habit. A quiet resignation that this is all there is. But it's not. There's more waiting for you, but you have to move before time decides for you. Time is not cruel, it's just honest. It gives you what you give it. If you fill it with purpose, it gives you meaning. If you waste it, it doesn't come back to ask why. It just continues carrying pieces of you with it. And one day you'll wake up not with alarm, but with the heaviness of all the time that was lost. Tut. Our life is calling, answer it now. There is a voice inside you, you've heard it before. Sometimes it comes as a whisper in the quiet moments when no one else is around. Sometimes it's louder, crashing like a wave in your chest, begging you to pay attention. It's not the voice of doubt or fear. It's the one that says you were meant for more. It's the voice that nudges you when you're about to settle. The one that aches when you watch someone else live their dream, not out of jealousy, but because you know deep down you're capable of that too. That voice is not your imagination. It's your truth, and it's calling you. You don't have to know exactly where you're going. You just have to stop pretending you're fine staying where you are. So many people are asleep while they're awake, breathing, walking, talking, but numb inside. They've silenced their inner voice for so long that they no longer recognize it. They've accepted a life of it just okay because chasing something more seems too risky, too uncertain, too bold. But your soul wasn't made for safety. It was made for truth, for movement, for meaning. Every time you ignore that calling, a part of you fades. You convince yourself that dreams are for the lucky, that purpose is for the chosen, that fulfillment is for the privileged. But that's the biggest lie you've ever been told. You are the lucky. You are the chosen. You are worthy of a life that excites you. You don't need permission to chase what's already inside you. You just need the courage to listen and the strength to respond. The calling doesn't wait forever. It's not cruel. It's persistent. It will try again and again to reach you. Through moments of discomfort, through quiet tears, through late night thoughts and early morning restlessness. It will appear in the form of dreams that won't die, ideas you can't shake, and passions that won't go away no matter how much you try to be realistic. That's not coincidence. That's your life trying to reach you. There is no perfect moment to begin. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need a detailed plan. You just need to start. You need to stop waiting for signs and realize you are the sign. The fact that something inside you is still restless, still burning, still dreaming, that's enough. That's everything. Life isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to ask the right questions and follow where they lead. You will not be the same person once you respond to that calling. You'll lose some things, comfort, approval, certainty. But you'll gain something far greater, alignment, peace. Joy that doesn't fade when the world is silent. You'll stop living someone else's story and start writing your own. There is nothing more painful than living a life that doesn't belong to you, and nothing more liberating than finally answering the voice that's been calling your name all along. It's not asking for perfection, it's asking for presence, for willingness, for you to show up not just in the world but in your own life.